Hello, everybody. Hello. How's everyone today? Everyone's still using those summer colors to eke out another nice month, right? That's the way to do it. You can stave off winter if you just keep those summer colors moving. Okay?
How long does that work for?
It works as long as you sleep. So February 2nd. We're already at the point we're not supposed to be wearing white from the waist down, right? This is winter white, people.
Snow White.
Permitted, Snow White. It's allowed. Well, it's good to see everybody. Is everyone feeling good today?
Yes.
Everyone's fresh and happy? Good, excellent. We have a lot on our agenda today, so let's start out by asking Michelle, who's joining us, to see what's going on with American Heart Association this month.
What's going on? Everything is going very well. We just had our walk in September, and it went very well.
What was the weather like that day?
It was supposed to pour, and it didn't.
Okay, good.
It was a beautiful day. It really was a beautiful day.
Good.
So we had a lot of people there. A lot of wellness going on, promoting wellness in businesses and in communities. And I was away at a convention in Dallas for training, and the CEO said something very interesting, and it was that we're trying to really promote wellness to the point where we have a 2020 goal of improving the heart health of all Americans by 20% by 2020, and decreasing death and disability caused by heart disease and stroke by 2020. And how you're going to do that, and basically what she said is, we don't want you in the communities, we want you of the communities. So that's what we're trying to do. Really just getting into communities, getting into schools, getting into churches, synagogues, all places of worship, everywhere, and just really promoting, hey, just be mindful of your health. What are you doing for yourself today? You know, you're here, you're talking to Karen, you're doing what you're doing, but are you taking care of your physical body as well? Because that is something that's sacred and supposed to be taken care of. And the reason why we have so many problems is that people do not take care of themselves and, dis-ease. So, therefore, go on our website. It's got a tremendous amount of information. Give me a call. Let me know if you need anything for your businesses or anything like that, and I'll be glad to come in. CPR training, we do that. 2 more lives were just saved over the last 2 days.
Oh, nice.
Strangers just doing CPR.
Nice.
So hands only, not even traditional mouth to mouth. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. So
Just say your website.
I'm sorry?
Just say the website.
Heart.org. www.heart.org.
That's an easy one.
And
That's very easy.
there's a lot of workplace health solution programs. They're free. So instead of sitting there with our hands out, we're saying we want to help you. So there you go.
Nice.
Okay. There you go.
That's a great philosophy.
Yeah.
I like that. That's nice.
It is.
Good. Okay. So.
You better talk about the board.
Huh?
Yeah, you better talk about the board.
Yes. I shall remember it today. We have our EPGs next month, and then just to give you a little heads up, in December we always add a little extra time and have a holiday share. So we'll get, when we get closer to those times, someone will volunteer and be the person that you tell what you're going to bring, okay? And it's nice. And it's nice because we get to linger and mingle and do the things that you like to do when we're together all the time. When I can't pull you all back from after the break, you can do that to your heart's content in December. I'll be at the spa, the lodge at Woodlock. I'll be there for Halloween this year. This is an experiment. They haven't had a speaker there on Halloween before. And it doesn't happen to be my favorite holiday, so I thought it would be kind of interesting to see what it would be like to be there instead. They're experimenting with me because I usually draw a crowd there, so they're experimenting with me to see what other dates they can get crowds instead of where they normally get them. So I'm on the Halloween. Yeah. There's a compliment in there somewhere for me. Somewhere there is a compliment. I'm going to find the compliment.
Halloween theme.
They're going to be like a psychic.
Yeah.
I'll bring in my 8 ball. That's what I'm going to do.
Put water in it.
And my big event of the year, though, I do one per year in Setauket, and this year it's on November 5th. It's scheduled for, it's a 6-hour event. The first couple of times I did it, and I hand out those questionnaires. What can I improve? What would you like to see? What topics are interesting? The very first year I handed that out after my first 6-hour seminar. I only had one negative comment that day, and it said, it was too short. Oh, wow, okay. So, all right, so maybe I'll make it 9 hours this time, because I like everyone to be happy. No, that's on November 5th. That's Happiness Highway. What, you know, we can call what it is that we do here anything we want. The pathway to enlightenment, removing masks and layers, learning to love ourselves. What it really is, it's about all the life strategies to peel away the human junk that we pick up along the way, all the misbeliefs, all the neglect or abuse or damage that has occurred, you know, around us, near us, at us, to us. And as we're going through the process of making all of these discoveries, what we're doing ultimately is becoming happy. So what I've helped people do through seminars and coaching and books over the last 8 or 9 years, I've come up with a body of techniques that work. They worked for me. It's what I used to become happy. It works for clients. It's worked in my 3-day seminars. And I've compiled a lot of those techniques and a good variety of them. And that's what we'll be focusing on November 5th. So I'm excited about it. I don't think there's anything more fun than happiness. I like it. It's my personal buzzword. And so I would love to see you there. It's usually a very beautiful day. We have the whole place to ourselves, and we have a very good time that day. Then, we're giving you a lot of advance notice that in November I will be headlining a cruise to Bermuda. And we'll be leaving out of New Jersey.
November.
What did I say?
May.
Oh, okay, thank you. I saw the 11th. I got something right, but thank you for the help.
Now you don't have to rush to pack.
Apparently I'll be there on November 5th and 6th, which makes this really awkward. Very awkward. And I'll be live streaming on that day. Thank you for the help. I really appreciate it. This is why I need a qualified adult to follow me around at all times. Okay, that would be May. And I think it's like, I think we get back like the Thursday before that Mother's Day weekend. Okay, so that's kind of nice trip. That'll be fun. We'll have a great time. They're doing a lot of different activities. I think it's on my website already if you want to, see everything that we're doing that week or however many days it is. In May. Okay, I'm done.
Are you speaking every day?
I'm doing, I know that I'm doing a keynote speech and at least one other presentation, and I don't know how else it'll be structured. I might be doing some other things as well. And I think, I'm not exactly sure. I think I'll also be able to be doing some private sessions. Yeah.
You're staying on the boat the whole time, right?
I think there'll be one day where, there'll be an out sign on my door, not available, out. There'll be at least one day you will not see me, I promise. But the other days you will see me somewhere, somehow, sometime. Okay. So it'd be great to, I know I actually have a lot of clients that are already signing up and going. So it'd be nice to see people in that kind of different setting. To be there that much together would be fun. Okay, so any news that anyone's looking for interpretation? Yeah.
What's up with the creepy clowns?
Oh, it's so fascinating. I had, before this came into our consciousness, I was I was doing a couple of seminars in New Jersey, and all of a sudden clown stuff started to pop up, and for some reason I get to New Jersey and I'm like, I was making a big deal out of all this clown stuff that was popping up, but this was before any of this came into the news. And I was like, everybody does not love a clown, right?
No.
And I'm saying this, and boom, all of a sudden they're like headlining all over the news. I'm like, stupid, stupid, stupid. Do not say things like that, Karen. Instantaneous manifestation. Yes, we do not love clowns. Let's get over it. We do not love clowns. But I don't really know the news of like if anything serious has happened, just the whole creepiness and scariness of it.
Well, it got to a collective sense because now McDonald's is affected. They're stopping him as far as promoting stuff. It's in today's paper. That's how bad it got.
They are.
Yeah, for them to even be affected like that. It's in today's Post.
Yeah, and I imagine it would be. And I actually have a client who is a professional clown. He's very upset. It is. I mean, that's her, but it is her entire livelihood. So it is a little bit interesting. But I feel like there's like I'm thinking of who I was talking about this with yesterday. That you can't underestimate the power of how much everybody really needs to be a part of something. This is a copycat circumstance going on right now, and it's a cry for attention for anyone that's doing it or donning the costumes and running around, whatever they think they're going to gain from it. But what it shows is that if we live in a culture where we are isolated and disconnected, there's always going to be these things that pop up where people are doing things because they really need to feel a connection, they need to be visible, they need to be apparent. I find it fascinating. My son asks me a lot of things about ISIS or terrorist cells or KKK, and he always wants to know why, like how does that happen? From the time this kid was pretty little, he was asking me these questions, and I really try to help him understand what it's like to need love, to not feel that you're valued or appreciated. And I explained to him how brainwashing works, how if you give someone the feeling that they matter and that they're important and that they are significant in your life, and then all of a sudden you start to withdraw that, you now have a powerful relationship if you withdraw that affection. And that's how it all begins, because they become addicted to the only source of where they feel that they are worthy. And so they'll do anything, literally anything, to gain that feeling of being appreciated or valued or a part of something back. So fundamentally, even with this clown bit, it's another way of showing us that we can't be isolated. We have to have a touch point with each other. I was making a joke the other night at a seminar, and I was like, it used to be the old days where you'd be hanging out at an event and someone would have a cute baby, and you're like, oh, can I hold the baby? And you'd hold the baby and watch the event, and they'd be happy because their muscles got to take a break. I'm like, could you imagine asking someone if I could hold your baby today? You'd be like handcuffed before you could say the B on baby, right? We're still permitted to, with permission, pet other people's dogs, but there's a fine line there. And it's crazy how we're just not allowed to even interact on a human level anymore. All these rules, and you can't hug your kids when they come into your classroom, and you're not supposed to give anybody hugs or touch them or pat them on the head or anything. And so it's time that we stop this stupidity and get back to letting people feel like there is a connection between us, that we're allowed to hug, we're allowed to be friendly, we're allowed to show love. One seminar I did, and I remember this, where guides were giving me information about how from the 1960s through today, I think it was probably around 2010 that I gave the seminar, and they were showing how each decade was very prophetic in helping us get to the accelerated period of enlightenment that we're in right now. And they were showing what were the themes in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, and what do you call those 0 to 10? We haven't named them yet, have we?
No.
What are they?
The aughts.
Is that what they are? The what?
Aughts.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll name them in about 20 years, right? When we have to refer back to them. You call them something. Nothing. And there has been a very clear bit of personality and change that we can assign to each decade. But one of the most interesting changes that happened was the period of the 1980s when we became incredibly litigious. And when that began to erupt, when Wall Street had endless money and people were taking money from people and seeing how easy it was to grab big chunks of money and become wealthy overnight, and people were becoming envious and they wanted chunks of money overnight and things like this. And it became like an epidemic in the 1980s because of all these lawsuits that were going on, and none of them in our legal system are discarded. Everything pretty much is treated as though it's a possibility. I know some frivolous ones might be discarded, but not nearly as many as should be. But what happened is, in order for people to protect themselves from this fear that arose and to protect their organization, or they thought they were protecting themselves and organizations, is that we came up with rules, lots of rules. We went around and we took down everybody's playgrounds, and people stopped selling things. People pulled out of like the baby product industries. People did this, people did that. All this stuff started to get really nutty. And the more you would hear of another big settlement for somebody that had this happen or this happen, the more you would see other people having lots and lots of paperwork and attorneys and all this. But you know what? No one ever stops to think, is this the way that we want to live? Is this the way that we choose to live? What we do is we buy into it. The first thing you hear is you have to get an attorney. You have to read the fine print. You've got to protect yourself. Did you ever think about this, 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 or this? Well, I don't buy into it. I don't buy into it. The last two contracts I signed were each a paragraph long in handwriting, and we both signed it just with hands. And I'm talking big contracts. And the only reason we did that was just so that there would never be a misinterpretation of what each other had intended. That's all. We wanted to know we were on the same page about intention, not about what would happen if either one violated the contract, but what is our intention? We just want to have it on the page. And the point is that if you live in honor and you're respecting one another, you don't have to litigate. You don't have to have all of these rules. But the basic byproduct of the 1980s is that we are isolated and separated, and we're very overregulated, and we're very overruled. So we have to eventually, I always talk about taking back your power and finding ways to be free again. But one thing is, don't buy into this stuff. We have to find ways to not buy into it, okay? It's really interesting how everyone thinks that this is the way that it has to be. As soon as it's suggested, then they propagate it by signing the contracts, having the contracts drawn up, and doing this and that and the other thing. But I always imagine that when I have my massive overnight success and I've got to hire people like crazy and have a company, I know what the heart of my company will be, and it'll be operating outside the law, above the law, and it'll be operating from the soul. And if you want to work for that company and that organization, you're going to have to be a soulful person. We're not going to work through our personal stuff through each other and through lawsuits and through crises and damaging each other. We're going to work through our stuff by working through our stuff. I already have the person that would become my chief soul officer, and we're going to work things through. People are working out their stuff all the time, and you don't have to work it out contentiously. You don't have to work it out through anger or angst. You can work it out through love, but we have to propagate and promote the idea that we can work things out through love and not work things out through anger and swords, but to work things out peacefully. Whenever I have a couple that comes to me and they're thinking about separating, one of the first things that I do, if I can get to speak to both partners, one of the things I advocate for them is to go to mediation instead of attorneys. And it's so important. If you can separate from a relationship, any kind of a relationship, I don't care if it's business or marriage or any other kind of partnership, it's so important that you learn to be friends. You were friends enough to get into this relationship. You can be friends enough to get out of it with dignity as well, where you're leaving both people intact, or however many people intact. I've never had clients who I was in communication with both people in the relationship where they wound up having a bitter, acrimonious divorce through attorneys. I've never had it. That would only be the case if only one of the clients were seeing me. If the other one's not, it can happen because I don't have access to be a conduit for different perception for them, and they're going to live in hate instead of living in love. So the thing is making your own choices, choice by choice by choice. A long time ago, very long time ago, I had an incident where someone I loved very much, whose husband had just died, the bus stop in the neighborhood was on the corner of her property. And every day one of the little kids in the neighborhood would come and play. She had an antique wine press in the middle of the lawn, and he would come and play and all this. And one day he's playing on the antique wine press. I don't recommend this at home, but it collapsed. It was an antique. It was not meant to be played on. And he was injured, and he had to have stitches, and he had some damage. And her husband had just died, but all of a sudden, lawsuit. So I'm like, come on, really? Come on. So this is before a lot of this started for me. I was just in the process of learning to live in honor. And I looked up this family's phone number, and I went over and I made an appointment, and they agreed to see me. When I went there, I was scared to death. I didn't know what I was going to do from that moment on. But the husband was the only one that would meet with me. I could see and hear the wife and the two kids on the stairs eavesdropping. No pressure. So I'm sitting there, and one of the went back and forth, and I explained her circumstances, and I was just trying to appeal to his heart. And he got his back up, and he said, everyone I talk to says, you just have to sue her. You just have to sue her. See what you can get. You just have to sue her. Everyone tells me that. And I said, then I got fired up. I said, I think that if you talk to 99 people and everyone says that, then go talk to one more person, because one more person is going to be living in love and say, that's not the right thing to do. It doesn't feel good. Just because everybody's doing it. It's not something that you want to model to your children. It's not something where you want to, that's the presence of who you want to be in this world. And I also said what you should focus on instead is that you have an opportunity here to get a reasonably mild opportunity to have a different kind of conversation with your kids and talk about property and respect and talk about boundaries and talk about character development and traits that you want your children to model in the world, rather than say, you did this and now you're going to get a lot of money from a little old lady. And I said, this is all I can leave you with. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to choose who you want to be and what you want to model for your children. And after that, he was silent. Everybody's silent, and I said, that's all I can do. And I left. And, I don't hear anything. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have a rule book. So I didn't know what to expect. But finally, about 3 weeks later, the lawsuit, she was notified that the lawsuit was withdrawn. And I felt really great about that, because I knew that I made a difference. And now, you know what? Who knows? This is 10 years later. Who knows how this man is telling the story? The kid's in college. Maybe he's telling the story. He sat there and listened to me talk to his dad. I was respectful of his father. I was never lost my temper. I was never angry. I was never mean. So you don't know the ripples of just those 3 or 4 of them in that house, and then actually withdrawing the lawsuit. You don't know how that is still affecting reality. And so my point is, every single thing you do, you can do something better. You can amp it up. You can go to the higher place, and you can really encourage other people to do it as well. There have been times when I could, make more money by not having integrity. I can't tell you how wealthy I could be monetarily if that was the way that I chose to live. But I don't live like that, because that's not important to me. It's not. I mean, how many times do I have clients that I can feel that they can slip into dependency because the information that they get through me feels better than the information that they're getting anywhere else. But if I'm not feeling or witnessing them using the strategies and applying them for themselves, and they're transferring their point of power over to me, I can't advocate that. What I could do is say, you know what, for $1,000 a month, here's what I'll do for you. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll be available by that, and I could be making a ton of money doing that. It's not helpful. I don't want to leave this world in any way less off than I found it. I want to leave every bit of energy into the space better than what I found. And everything about whether you're advising someone to sue or you're, oh, I'm going to take a medical leave because my elbow hurts, I need a month off. Whatever it is you're thinking, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Find another way. Find another way. There's always another way. There's always another way. And so I know I moved away a little bit, but the point is that the reason for this whole clown bit or ISIS or any of these situations, it is fed by fear, and it is fed by the fact that we live in such a litigious culture where we're constantly needing to protect ourselves, we believe, and we're constantly suing one another. There are fundamental shifts that we could make in our country that would help us to get back to what the intention was from our founding forefathers. Number one is to revamp our legal system and make it really representative of the people again. Make it not be a free-for-all. Make it not be an open check for attorneys when they can see an opportunity to have it be an open check. And the other thing that we can do is to get rid of special interests. Companies should not have any say whatsoever in what any politician ever decides. That to me, and you always hear these things, the definition of insanity, that's the definition of insanity. And to think that we really have a voice in that. The only way we're going to have a voice is by the people who are thinking differently, collecting, and being different in the choices that we do have that we can make. Okay? And that's our role, big or little, that's our role. Our government has more power right now than I think most people understand. And one of the things is I get to see some strange circumstances through clients. I get to see things that happen that are mind-blowing. And so I get this incredible slice into what it's like to be an American because of what I do. So I get this amazing variety of circumstances that people are managing. And I will tell you that I very rarely come across someone that's in chaos because the government is supporting them. Hasn't happened yet. They're not in chaos because the government is supporting them. It hasn't happened yet. But we are the country. The government is here to serve us. We're not here to serve the country. And the more little tiny things you do with your thoughts, your actions, and your beliefs, the more we can take back the power that really does belong to us that has been taken away from us. Yeah.
A little segue into the situation with the pipeline, maybe? Just because you're talking about that seems to be what you're speaking of.
I'm
a little segue.
Sometimes I get like the weirdest intuitions. Like I know I should have angelic voices singing to me, and painting rainbows and sparkles are showing. But once in a while, I get things that are pretty funny. So in June, I was just driving along, and I get a lot of psychic hits when I'm driving, and all of a sudden it popped in my head that this is what popped in my head. So the government has, they're putting it out to the American people that they need an ad campaign to promote the United States of America's government. They just need a slogan, something to say exactly who they are and what they do. So this campaign goes out, and the winner is because we can. That's the answer. Because we can. United States government, because we can. That's the answer. We do it because we can. So the answer about the pipeline is that it's only when people continue to say, no, you can't. No, you can't. A big deal. You get arrested for trespassing. Big freaking deal. You get arrested. You know, one of the great things I think about if you're famous is, man, I would use that power. I would get arrested a lot, a lot. I would try to, you know, I'd have to go to my attorney first and say, is this a felony arrest or is this misdemeanor? You know, listen, you have a contract with me protecting me if I go into the felony? But man, would I get arrested a lot, because I think that's the way to use a voice, is you know, you go, what is people interested in? Interested in social media and gossip and stories of famous people. But I would use my fame for that, you know, and I think that would be a blast. But it is about support, wouldn't it?
Well, some people do, actually.
But it, you know, it's, I always advocated for the things that I could advocate for, especially in education. I was always that silent parent that was calling in silent meetings, and not for my kids. I don't think I've ever called a meeting for any of my kids, ever. But boy, have I called a lot of meetings for the population in general. I have a lot of meetings, written a lot of letters for the population in general. And, you know, I think it's helped here and there, but I'm only one person, and I'm only one person that's able to do that and help people to get back to themselves and to making decisions from the heart. One of the most disappointing experiences I had is when one of my kids was little. She was injured on the playground. So she got a good-sized cut, really good size. And it's no big deal. Nothing's a big deal to me anymore. It really isn't. And I was really friendly with the principal at the time. I mean, we were good friends. He saw me as an advocate. He saw me as intelligent. He saw me as never making waves, but always being of help. So all of a sudden the phone rings, and it's the school, and it's him. And I'm like, oh, he's probably just checking up on her. Well, I felt like he ripped my heart out, because he read a legal script on the phone to me. And I'm like, you know, this is Karen. This is Karen here. I was devastated. I was devastated. Never did he talk off script. He read a legal script on the phone to me. And I realized I'm not going to be a part of this anymore. I'm not going to let people be like that. And so the next time I saw him in person, I made sure I mentioned something about it. I was as kind as I could possibly be. I won't say his first name. I'll say his first name is George. And I just said, George, listen. I said, I got the point of your phone call. I said, but, you know, this has really got to suck for you, that you can't do your job and just be a human in the community talking to parents and kids. I said, that has to suck. I feel really bad for you. And I figured, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Because I think that could be like, you know, she's right. She saw through that call that I was required to make. And I wasn't being human. I wasn't acting from my human self. I wasn't being a soul. And I thought that might be the best way to just say something without saying anything, because it did suck. And you know what? I watched this man after he became principal. I watched his health just spiral out of control. It was really awful, awful, you know? This is what we're doing to people because of litigation, you know, and we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing. We should be sitting around tables. We should be holding hands when we fight. That's what we should be doing, you know? Yeah, all right. That's all. I said my piece. Yeah, so thanks for bringing up the news, Bill.
Yeah. Making sure it wasn't politics.
Get them on the way. Yeah, no, I talk government, but I don't talk politics. Government's different. That's about power. It's about our freedom. It's about we have the right to freedom. Everyone has the right to freedom. All right, no other news stories, but any questions, anyone? No? We're all good? All right. This year, I've seen a theme in my private groups of a lot of conversation about how you really do manifest the reality that it is that you want. It's just a theme that's coming up a lot. Now, back in 2006 and 2007, all the rage was to talk about law of attraction. So we talked about it, 8, 9, 10, 2011, we're still talking about it, and we're attending seminars, and we're doing this, and we're doing that. But now we're talking about manifestation. I know that's part of law of attraction, but it's popping up again a lot. Apparently, it's popping up a lot because nobody got it between 2006 and 2011. So here it is, 2016, and they're still like, hey, what about manifestation? But I think it is something that's worthy of revisiting, because sometimes it's really strange how things seemingly happen to some people, and you don't really know why that would happen to that person, and it just doesn't make sense. So one of the things that I want to help people understand is when we talk about manifestation and you understand that you have a hand in the creation of your reality, we tend to go to the place of feeling guilt or responsibility if something's not going our way. And then if something big happens, we're not only devastated by the thing that might have gone wrong, but then we're doubly devastated because we feel like we did it to ourselves, and now what's wrong with me? And so in addition to suffering from whatever the thing is, now you're suffering from the guilt, self-imposed feelings of shame. But what I want to say is that it's just so important to always understand two facets of how we create our reality. And one is that you're not alone. No one lives in a vacuum. When something happens in your life, other people are involved, no matter how personal it might seem. And you could easily be the center of a catalyst for potentially big changes for a lot of people around you. And even though it seems to have affected you, in the infinite wisdom of the universe, there might be a really good reason why it's you, for all of the ripples that it can put around other people around you, that they're not able to wake up on their own, but when they see you and the way that you're managing the circumstance, it can help them to see things differently. So number one, it's really important to see that you're not alone, even when these negative things are happening. And not alone also in that the support that comes to you, everybody could use a little bit of extra love. When you see people rally around when you have a challenge, it's also kind of nice. So at least pull in the benefit. Don't say no to everybody that wants to help. Say yes to people that want to help. And that can help it move along. But the other part of it is that there is always a specific connection between a crisis and whomever is intimately connected with the crisis. There is something that is a derivative of energy, and the energy might not seem fair, and I find that so interesting that sometimes it's not fair. Sometimes things that you feel that you are lacking in, self-love, courage, if you have a lot of fear, if you have a model in your family of sickness and the belief in getting sicker or sick all the time, it doesn't mean that it's being generated necessarily from you, but if that's the energy that you're reflecting out into the universe, it still is energy. You can't say, just because I'm thinking something I don't want to think, or something just because I believe something I don't want to believe, it's not energy and it's not going to affect my reality. Because it does affect your reality. It creates your reality. It creates your reality. It doesn't just affect it. It's so hard to grasp the idea that the universe will try to provide you with opportunities to see what's going on inside of you that you might be unaware of. And you get an opportunity, and it's going to be a little one. But if you're not getting it and you can't understand how the conversation is direct and intended for you, they got to amp it up a little bit. It's going to get a little louder, okay? And then they get a little louder, and then they get a little louder until the thing is so big you've got nowhere to go, you've got nowhere to move. It's not that this was thrust upon you for the first time ever in your life. It's that they've been trying and trying and trying to get you to have a conversation with them, to make you see something that you were carrying from your childhood that's affecting your projection of energy into your physical reality. It's not a punishment. It's not meant to be cruel. It's not meant to be unkind. It's a consequence of energy. It really is very much like, Snow White's mirror, mirror. It's reflecting back. It reflects back to you. That's the gift that it gives you, is to give you exactly what you are putting out there, to reflect it back to you. The universe is not going to think, how can we change the reflection? It's going to remind you of what the reflection is and ask you to change it. That's the role of the universe in your life. And sometimes that consequence is very, very sad. And this is why I'm constantly wanting people to, help out kids and be a candle burning for kids. Because if a kid is mixed up in a world or a family or an education system or a religion that's disempowering and doesn't allow them to understand their uniqueness and their powers and how vibrant and awesome they really are, then the consequence is that the energy that they're putting out there into the universe is going to reflect what they learned, what baggage they picked up from that experience, and then they're going to have challenges when they grow up. And they may feel like victims. They may feel like a victim of crime or a victim of illness or a victim of this or a victim of that, a victim of bad luck. But all it is, it's what they have carried from childhood, the energy of it reflecting back into the universe, and the universe is showing what that looks like. This is what it looks like. That's all this ever is. This is what it looks like. It's not false. It's for clarity. You're not flawed. You are changed or misshaped by the people that were doing the best that they can with you when you were a kid. But you're not flawed. But the key is, yeah.
No, go ahead. Say the key and then I'll...
The key is that you want to, every gentle knock, look at it. Don't ignore it. And just say, what's up? Hey, universe, did you come to chat? What do you want to chat about? What would you like me to know? I'm going to try, I promise. Oh, I'm bored. I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee. I'll get back to you. And you never get back, right? And the universe is like, oh, you left me out here. It's getting cold, right? You're like, oh, yeah, universe. What was it that you wanted to chat about? And this just goes on and on. But if you, the first knock, you invite the universe to sit down with you and say, what's up? I must have forgotten something. I forgot something I knew when I was born. Help me to remember it. If you can remember it, all those other knocks on the doors disappear. They disappear. They disappear. And it's hard for me. Huh?
Can you just provide like an example?
Yeah, that's where I was going, and this is probably one of the reasons. Yeah, no, hey, you're psychic. What can I tell you? But like for example, I witness this stuff with clients, and sometimes it's hard. I'll be saying for months something from a guide, months and months and months and months, ad nauseum. And the client will, oh, yes, that's so right. Let me write that down. Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. Let me jot that down. And then we'll say it another way, and then we'll say it another way, and then we'll say it through something else, and we'll just keep saying it and saying it and saying it. And all of a sudden, something happens, enormous. And immediately, if it's a coaching client and I'm doing a lot of coaching with them, they're like, why would my guides do this to me? And it's the saddest thing. Why would my guides do this to me? That's a very sad question. It's a very sad question. Your guides would not do that to you. They do things with you and for you. With you and for you. With you and for you. And if it's a client of mine, then they've heard their guides for a period of time. If it's not a client of mine, you've been hearing your guides too. You probably just chose to ignore it. Those feelings of this doesn't feel right, or I shouldn't do this, or I should do that. All those little nagging, gnawing things. I can do this. I know I can do this. I know my father made me think I can, but I really think I can't, but I think I can. When you hear these things, that is your guide saying, let go of this. Let go of this. You are more than this. You are special. You are important. You are fearless. You are courageous. You are limitless. And so if you just listen, you'll see that guides will never do anything to us. They never do anything to us. But we're not here to just have pleasant lives. We're here to experience the joy of projecting our consciousness from a soul to create happiness. And when that happiness factor doesn't appear outside of us, then it's important that we find out what misinformation we're holding on to that separated us from our ability to do that. It's a journey. And so what winds up happening is that, like for an example, a client of mine was fired on Friday, a really, really big job, a very big job, and just out of the blue. And it hit her so suddenly, and she's devastated. It's 5 days later. It's awful. But if I gently mention what her guides have been doing with her for the last 2 years, it is so clear she's been prepared for this moment for 2 years. For 2 years. 2 years. Now she's willing to take the last 2 years and throw it away because she's devastated. But what's really going to happen is because she'll continue to talk to her guides through me, and she'll get through the period of crisis when she's ready. She'll get these moments of being able to hear again. She's going to go back to that 2 years of information, and she's going to really go out and create the life that it is that she wants. And realize how powerful it is that she got away from this awful, horrible situation that she was in. But that's not what it feels like when the hit comes. When the hit comes, it only feels total. There's shame, there's guilt, there's fear, there's depression, there's all of this stuff. But when these things occur, that's when you start to ask, why is this being reflected outside of me? It's not because you're being punished. What led up to this? What is this reflecting? In her particular case, this is where I'll get a little more specific, where it doesn't seem to make any sense. Yes, if you stay in a job that you don't belong in, you stay in a company that you don't belong in, the universe is pretty brisk these days. They used to let you stay there for 30 days and die alone, but now they don't let you do that anymore. They're like, hey, we gave you 1 warning, we gave you 2, we gave you 3, you're out, you're fired. But they didn't used to do that, okay? But now they do. But the thing is, she, her whole entire life, felt guilty. She was raised with guilt. So in her role, I told you she had an enormous role, CEO. In her whole career, she felt like anything that went wrong really was her fault. Not just being the figurehead and the buck stops here, but everything that went wrong, she thought it was her fault. She felt guilty about everything. And the guilt, decades of guilt, carrying around this guilt, the feeling that she wasn't doing things right, or she wasn't doing them well, or she wasn't doing them good enough. That's what led to the firing. A reflection of the accumulation of that energy that her guides have been trying so hard to let her release, to stop feeling guilty and to start feeling good about herself. That's the point. Do you think that if she didn't have access to communicate with her guides, she'd ever be able to figure that out after getting fired on Friday? No. But most of us don't have the tools to figure out how to hear the other end of the conversation. And that's the point. Manifestation means you have to listen to what's going on outside of you. There is nothing random. This whole thing is a great big conversation. This whole thing is a great big conversation. So listen to what is being said to you and find the benefits of change. Find the benefits of things that appear in your space that you weren't expecting. Find the benefit in disappointments. Just keep looking and looking and looking and see what the conversation is specifically designed to be about for you. Okay? Good?
So in our lives, I wasn't fired, I was let go. I'm like, she's talking about me. I understand, why it happened in my case, but I'm trying to find, something that, I understand what you're talking about, but because there's a lot of new people in here, they might get it and might not get it or so.
Right.
In that woman's case, if she would have started to appreciate herself more, if she would have started to love herself more, and start to
and to advocate for herself.
And start to get that not everything is her fault, then she wouldn't have had certain things happen.
And she could have prepared her exit, and she could have resigned and moved into the journey that made her heart sing, or will make her heart sing when we get her back there. Exactly.
Because it's not really it's not like positive or negative or so, like looking at something. It's more of what benefits there
Yes.
are, and that now it's like, because my job was crappy, you know, like, so now it's like about finding something that I really am passionate about,
Yes,
you know, like
Yes.
the same thing now.
yes, exactly. That's exactly right. And when you look at how even people's careers have shifted in the last decade or two about company loyalty and entering into a profession and having it for life until you retire, having a pension that you can count on, being able to take a nice couple of trips every year, you know, those days are gone. But there are a lot of we can tell the reasons on earth why they're gone. This happened and this happened and this happened. But from the higher plane, like from a universal truth perspective, the reason it's gone is because that's not the way we're supposed to be creating life. We're not supposed to get onto a people mover when we're 21 and then press the button to get off the people mover when we're 65. That's not the way life is supposed to go. We're supposed to be creating life. You know, be your own advocate. Understand the power of your imagination. Understand the energy of your actions and your thoughts and your beliefs. Understand that you are not alone. Understand that what I do affects her, what she does affects her, what she does affects him. You know, it's to get into the process and not see it as something random or disconnected. It's to live in real time the expression of our own journey. When I'm coaching kids that are graduating college, the very first thing I say, I don't care if they're graduating and they're going to become a psychiatrist or they're going to become an accountant or an attorney, first thing I talk about is that from this second on, you are your own brand. You are your own brand. No one is going to decide what your brand looks like except for you. You are your own brand for life. You are your own brand for life. And you want to manage that brand. Who are you? How do you communicate? How do you present yourself? How does this translate onto paper? Where do you want to go? How do you get to where you want to go? Don't do a great job and sit at your desk year after year and hope that some really cool person comes in and says, I noticed you've been sitting at your desk for many years, doing a really good job. You've never created any bother for us whatsoever. We're going to give you a promotion and a raise. You know, that's not how it works anymore. On a rare occasion it might, because there's a lack of other people to choose from, but in most cases it doesn't really work like that. You don't have to get out there and be a bully for yourself, but you have to advocate for yourself and point out things that you're doing, point out where you'd like to be, point out that you'd like to meet someone. It's important to just be your own advocate in the creation of your brand. One of the things that I find so interesting about how this plays out is that, you know, entrepreneurship is so huge right now that the IRS finally had to abolish the penalty for having a write-off for an in-home office. Everybody has something they're doing on the side. I don't care where your paycheck is coming from. Everybody has an office in their house. Everyone, you know. And so the whole point is that there's so much entrepreneurial stuff going on. It's really easy for me to help 20-somethings when they have a dip in their resume. You know, the fear factor is away. So, you know, but I've been unemployed for 6 months. What have you been doing for the last 6 months? Looking for a job, you idiot. Why do you think I'm sitting here? Why did you get fired? Because the guy was an idiot like you? How really do you deal with these questions? But what you can do is that, because entrepreneurialism is such a huge thing, is just fill your gaps in your resume with whatever you were doing and make it entrepreneurial instead of working for a particular organization. That's all. You know, if you were helping your uncle out because he's terrible at social media and you're helping him out once in a while, he's your ally now. You know, if you create your own brand, you create your version of the story. You create your version of the story. You know? This whole thing about you can't lie, that's not lying. If you believe that whatever you're saying you did for that 6 months, you have done, even if you've done it for 3 minutes, it's not a lie. Could you do it for them? If you know you could do it for them, it's fine. It's fine. Trust me, if you're not making your car payment in November, the guy who is concerned about the fact that you might have been lying, he's not going to come and make your car payment for you. You know, you are your own advocate. You tell your story the way that you want to tell your story. And we can have this conversation here because this is a group of people that we're really wanting to live in honor. Live in honor of yourself. Present yourself in the way that you want to be received. You know, you're not doing anything that's fraudulent or anything intending to create harm. All you're doing is being an advocate for yourself if you tell your story the way that you want it to be heard. Okay? But we're going to do something when we get back from the break based on the topic that we're talking about tonight. So while you're around getting a cup of coffee or doing anything, if you don't have a paper and a pen, try to grab a paper and a pen or borrow or steal. I said it.
That's honorable.
You are your own brand.
Yeah.
We'll go back to borrowing. Borrow. And
Back here?
We're back.
Now you're back.
Okay. What I want you to do is. All right. What I want you to do is I just want to do one relative.
Oh, wow, it's good.
Wow. That's good.
You can get on my spray. Now.
Oh.
You need to put that on your phone.
Yeah. It's really nice. It just goes on and on and on, too. It's really beautiful. So anyway.
Okay.
I'll show you later.
Next time. Like when we used to be able to bump our phones, right? You could just give me that time. Can't do that anymore.
It's called Insight Timer.
Nice. We're going to do a very quick exercise. What I want you to do is to think for a minute about something that it is that you have been trying to manifest, something that it is that you want. Don't have it be something brand new. Have it be something that you've been working at. And maybe you've been working at it for 50 years. But maybe you've been working at it for 50 months. Or 50 minutes. But make it something that you have been working at, but it's not exactly popping the way you would love for it to pop. Just think about that for a minute. And I'm going to ask everyone to be quiet for a minute after you think about it. And after we're quiet for a moment, I'll make the suggestion that you're going to have some answers about what might be preventing you from manifesting it. But let's just listen to whatever the guides make me say in between the two. And then we're going to just write a little bit. But there will be another step after it. So don't think that it's all this simple as it sounds. So first step, don't mean to confuse you. First step is just write down right now what it is that you have been trying to manifest that's eluding you in materializing physically the way that you would like it to. Thank you. Apparently some of you haven't written that novel yet that you want to I just decided that tonight you're going to manifest it after all. So congratulations on the manifestation of a novel. See how easy that was? Instantaneous manifestation. Wow. Wow, done. All right.
Really?
Go home. Go home. All right. We're just going to be quiet for a minute. I'm going to just channel whatever you guys might want to say. And after I'm done channeling and I tell you to begin, what you're going to do is intuition is very different than logic. Intuition is what pops into your head. So after I'm done speaking, see what pops into your head. Try not to do too much thinking about it. And let it happen fast. You'll know the difference between when you're searching for the answer and when ideas are popping. Write down the stuff that pops, the thoughts that come to you, and you can't really find the thread of reasoning how you got there. All right. You are an infinite being. As an infinite being in human form, you have a soul's intention. You have many quests in being here. And you have everything inside of you to manifest whatever it is that is your quest and is your intention. You have all of the strengths, talents, all the courage necessary, all of the capabilities and the talent and all of the goodness inside of you to completely manifest what it is that you are desiring. And whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest right now, it doesn't have to be the end. It can be the beginning, because we keep reimagining what we're capable of. We keep reimagining and stretching ourselves farther and farther. With each success, we get to find even more of how infinitely beautiful and resourceful we are. So you know in the deepest part of your being what is preventing you or inhibiting you from manifesting the goal that you have written on that piece of paper. You know that there's a reason why it hasn't materialized. For some purpose, it's serving you for it not being here. You know why it has not materialized. You know why it's serving you in this minute to not have it. Is it that you prefer to stay where you are? Do you want to be smaller? Are you afraid? Are you uncertain? Are you feeling that you're not good enough or worthy enough or strong enough? Are you afraid to be your soul's intention? Are you afraid to lose any relationships or any part of your life when you become one that is paralleling with your soul's intent, and other people can sense and feel your limitless joy and happiness in achieving that intention? There's a reason that you haven't manifested it to this point. You know the reason. Every person in this room has multiple guides with them at this minute. Every guide is whispering to you, not only while you're here, but all the time. And especially here tonight, they're going to whisper to you what that block might be that has prevented you from manifesting what you wrote on that piece of paper. And when your guides stop speaking in a few more seconds, you're going to know not just one answer, but multiple reasons why you're at the point where you are. And acknowledging those reasons will help you to move past them. Let's all listen to our guides. They know that you hear them. Write down what they're saying. Okay. Now, I recognize that when we are intending to hear our guides, depending on where we are in that ability, sometimes just the intention and the wanting to hear and wanting to get the answer, there's a lot of pressure there because you almost know whether you're right or wrong. This is not one of those situations where there's ambiguity and you're like, I might have nailed it or I might have heard. This is either yes or no. So those feelings of me being right or wrong, or can I do it, or others can do it and I can't, those feelings create veils that separate you from being able to hear, from being able to know. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do another exercise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pair you up, preferably with someone in the room that you don't know. In a short minute or so, tell the other person what your goal is that you wanted to manifest. Then we'll talk again for another minute from your guides, and each other is going to tell the other what it is that their block is. Okay? Does everybody understand?
Okay.
Because you're not as attached to the outcome. You want the happiness and joy and manifestation for the other person. Yes, you want that, which is why you can become this conduit for them. So you might be able to hear things for someone else that you might not have been able to hear for yourself. And hopefully another person will be able to hear something for you. It could be an addendum to what you got. It could be that they hit the nail on the head. Or you could just feel love and gratitude and appreciation for their attempt to be of value to you, just to receive their love in that moment. Does everyone understand what we're doing next? Okay. If I pair you up with someone that you know well, please just let me know, and we'll switch again. Okay? And rather than me pretend that I'm remembering everybody's name, I'm going to pretend I don't remember anyone. Okay, I'll have you and the man in the blue shirt over there. Over here?
Yes.
Okay, you're with the woman in the beautiful soft green thing.
Okay.
Right there. I don't want to say anyone's name. The woman in blue over there with the dragonfly. Okay, you're with this beautiful, beautiful
Shoulder
this young man right here is with that young blonde lady right there. Beautiful blonde woman over there. And this pretty young lady right here, she is with, wait, what's the pair in here?
No, we were just chatting.
Oh, what? You're with the beautiful clad woman in the back. Okay. And right here, you two are a pair. And young man, my videographer, you are a pair with this beautiful young woman right here. And the young lady.
Come here? All right. Thank you. Good. Just in case I have to move the camera.
My ally and my advocate over here, you are with this beautiful young woman with the baby.
Oh, we go right into it, right? I guess so. Would you like me to start or you start?
You're right.
All right, I'll start. My goal was with music
Okay. All you got to do is share with your partner over the next minute what your intention was. Don't give away what you think your block was that you think you heard. Don't say anything about why you think you haven't manifested it. Do not mention to your partner why you think you haven't manifested that goal yet. Don't mention anything like that. Just say what the goal was. Don't say, I didn't do it because of this, I didn't do it because of that, or it's been hard because of that. No no's in there. Only what the goal is. Okay? So share.
And turn.
Yes. You share and then reverse and the other one shares. You want to go first? Okay?
Where do you want this pointed?
And do this at home. Grab a puppy or your daughter or...
I'm looking for questions for
Nothing. You don't do anything. I'm going to speak to your guides again after you share what it is. Okay?
Cool. All right.
Wait, guys, listen. All you're doing is sharing the goal. I'm going to talk to your guys again before you tell your partner what you want. No. Just sharing what the goal is. That's it. Just share the goal.
Is your first time here? Yeah, I've been here for a while. Yeah? Nice. Oh, cool. Excellent.
You're good at
People actually getting there and talking about it. Different.
Okay, stop. Did everybody just share the goal? Share the goal. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk to your guys for another minute. While I'm speaking and everybody is silent, let answers pop in your head for your partner. You're going to let answers pop into your head for your partner. And whoever spoke first in sharing the goal will share with the partner what popped into their head, and then we'll reverse it. The second person will share with their partner what popped into their head. Okay? Are we good?
But you're gonna just keep talking and then we'll share.
Yes. When I'm done talking and your guys say, you got this, then you'll take over from there. Pretty much like we did last time before you wrote what was preventing you from having the goal. Okay? We are individuals having a collective experience here on earth. Not only are we seeking to parallel with our own soul's intention, but we're also wanting always for other people to parallel with their soul's intention as well. There are times in our life where being able to be connected to infinite wisdom on behalf of other people happens with ease and with joy. There are other times when that same ease and joy comes through for us. Tonight, I allow myself to become that conduit for information of value to my beautiful partner that I'm sitting with. And I'm allowing the guides of both of us to let me share with my partner what might be of value to them in understanding why they may have not yet completely manifested what their goal is. I enjoy being in this role. As the happiness of others grows, and as the happiness of my partner grows, my happiness expands as well. Okay. Now just listen to your guides for a minute. Okay, I know that I heard what you said, and I want to share it with my partner. First person, share it with your partner.
Okay. So, I got my speaker the first thought I had before we did all that was to look at like hobbies. So, like not limit the idea a hobby can't be in some shape or form. So, not limit your thoughts towards that. Second thing I got, no idea why, newscast. I don't know. Do something like that. I don't know. And then the last thing was just to dream bigger than you're dreaming now. To forget about what's possible right now, and just dream as big as possible, and don't judge what comes out until after, like something I guess like newscasting. I don't know if you're into the news at all, but like.
I'll talk to you about that after. That's crazy.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's really my favorite.
Okay, great.
So I'm thinking like first, just I guess from hearing you say that, I don't know, like I think a lot of people have an idea of like what a certain industry is, so like anything whatever they'll like, so somehow getting someone to publish GPA, but I think that if you just change your ideas, like really shaping that, like niche it, like just start off with small, like even if you play outside, like I always focus on people playing like subway station, I'm like it's not encouraged, they're sharing their gift, like that's sharing your gift with somebody, like the money will come, if you're doing with your influence, you're doing like the money just comes, will flow in, you know, you always feel like somehow you know, like I always felt like you sharing, like why not, like someone else is sharing it, like everybody appreciates it, like I love it, but I don't know if that's exactly of it, but I know, like you love it, not having a job or sharing that, and I think that like earlier you were passionate part about it, like there's a reason why you want it, like you're support for other people and like your soul, so I think we're able to do that, and that just kind of everything else is going to be like right now in my head, it's important that we'll make it so I know how to right now. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, I love the idea.
I know, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Feels good.
I just feel like for me, sharing it on Facebook, I don't know, YouTube, like there's so many views that we can share our lives, like, and our we're like, that's the one thing that we have here, kind of like, so like, even just like getting yourself out there, put yourself out there, like, that's when things will come to like, people want to like, I'm being informed of it, I don't know, it can also not be like, you know, like that, but
I do heavy metal? No.
yeah.
That's awesome. I actually do play here sometimes.
Do you? Oh.
At Karen's event in January, play a video. If you have a theme, if you give me a word like a few weeks before the seminar, and then I write a song based on the word.
You know who you should like look into? Rachel Platt, who sings that song. I heard she was down there. Now she, I love that song. It's so good.
You can't help it.
Oh my god, it's so inspiring. And she, I guess, goes to class and actually is doing my physical workout for that song. Really cool. But aside, she was walking the night, she was out there. She was people to buy stuff. She was writing songs, writing famous. So she like started big in the world. She found everything in herself. She took her positive message. She took it to like how people like how we do go right now. I think are so positive vibration. I think we need it.
Yeah, I think so too.
I love her music. She's great. I'm like, yeah, we need more of that.
I don't know any of her other music. I honestly, I don't listen to the radio anymore.
I just like her story. I don't even know if that's like
What's the name? I know the song. Yeah, tell me about that.
I like my public right now is and it's Okay, let's wrap it up. I know. That's so weird. She's done that.
Yeah, but teacher did catch it. There you go. That's awesome.
No, it was really good. That was not like
And like a newscaster, we could use some newscasters that are a little normal. That's a good word. So good word. Yeah. Yeah. Or more open. That'd be awesome.
My neighbor's watching my mom.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Okay, guys. Okay. I'm here too. How do we do, everyone?
Good.
Good? Everyone's doing well or is doing well? Huh? You nailed it? All right. That's my girl back there. Yeah. If in the event I shall not be able to perform the duties of the... You're up. You're up.
Nailed it.
Okay. Anyone have an aha moment tonight?
Yes.
Yeah? We have
Yeah.
one aha moment?
Yeah.
Yes? Yes?
Yeah, okay,
Yes?
yeah, definitely.
Validation, I don't think that really good. Validation.
It's nice to see that you can get information. It doesn't all have to come directly from you. That if you have an ally, you have someone that loves you and supports you, that you love and support, you can do this with other people. The only conduit that you really need is the intention of being of value. You know, love is the conduit for us to be able to communicate with our guides. You know, one of the things that, and I'll do this also for people who are live streaming, but what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to see if I'm getting any other answers as to why you haven't manifested the goal that you set forth. It could be duplicative of something that you heard for yourself, or you heard for someone else, or someone else shared with you, which is great. That means it's validating. Or it could be because maybe there was a person or two in the room where getting something that was really sinking in or meaning something personal, maybe it eluded you. But I'll let myself bring in even more answers. And if you're listening to some other answers, maybe it'll spark some curiosity about a different goal that you want to manifest or that you have not yet manifested that you've already tried. So just listen and see if anything else is resonating with you. The first one that I am getting is that there's a part of you that understands your role in a group. And if you soar beyond that group, you will change uncomfortably the dynamic of that group, and they will sabotage your exit. Another one is that you have struggled with a certain amount of pain throughout your life, and maybe you don't want to be in that zone, but it's familiar, and the familiarity of it is like an old, soft, reliable blanket. And who wants to break in a new blanket, right? The familiarity of it at least gives you comfort. You have the comfort of predictability, okay? Another one is that my whole life, I'm saying this for someone, I think even more than one, I'm saying it in the first voice now, and I don't know why I did that, but maybe whomever it's for, I'm supposed to say it in the first voice. But I know my whole life I was told that I can't do something, or that I'm not good enough, or that I'm not capable, or I'm not as good as. And there's a part of me that has believed it. And I think that the happiness that comes from the manifestation of dreams is something that only belongs to people that are good enough, or strong enough, or smart enough, or capable enough. All right, so these are the ones that I've gotten so far. Anyone get a new feeling of resonance with it? I know there's a little saying that comes out there once in a while that, I don't know exactly how it goes, someone correct me, but it says something like, I'm not afraid of failing, I'm afraid of succeeding because I don't, well, how does that saying go? Because,
Yeah, that's exactly like the whole, what it means. It's, it's just not the fear of failure, it's the fear
of success, because I don't have a frame of reference for it, I don't have a paradigm for it, it hasn't been modeled to me, it hasn't been encouraged in me. The thing about it is that, I don't care what age you are in this room, but I think we can all say that, life is pretty speedy, and you, in what you are right now, the way that you think, the way you process things, what you look like, who you are, what you've done, what's in your basket that you've picked up along the way, the uniqueness of you as an individual in this human form will never come again. You might come back to Earth again, you probably will, but in this particular incarnation, with your talents and your strengths and your story, the difficulties and the happiness, that package that allowed you to become exactly who you are in your human form, this will never, ever, ever, ever happen again, exactly like this. So rather than think anymore about what you want to do with that package, do it. And know that the world is supporting you to do it. Know that the world is supporting you to do it. If I brought in 40 high school seniors, and I asked each of you to sit and give a little bit of career advice to those 40 kids, and if it turned out that all 40 kids felt that they couldn't do what it is that their dream was, do you think you'd be able to encourage them? Do you think you'd be able to inspire them? Do you think you'd be able to help them get themselves out of the way? Do you think you'd be able to tell them all the reasons why they could do it? Well, do that for yourself. Do that for yourself. The same answers you would give that kid are the answers to give to you. Same exact answers. Same exact answers. So give those answers to you. And if working with a partner was something that felt really symbiotic with you, if you could feel symbiotic with a stranger tonight, imagine that there's an ally in your personal circle that you feel connected to, soulfully connected. Imagine how much power it will have to be able to have this kind of conversation with them and become support to each other. It's limitless. It's limitless. It's incredible that when you focus on something, it grows. So something as simple as taking 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, what did we do, 20 minutes here tonight? Taking 20 minutes out with someone that loves you and that you love to help them to achieve and for them to help you to achieve where it is that you would like to be, it's powerful. It eliminates and erases all of those contrary messages that are out there that say it's 1 in a million, or you can't, or there's not enough, or there's a lack of anything out there. There's not a lack of anything out there. There's not. And you are your own brand. There are so many little ways that the universe reminds us of our individuality. Some of them are really big, and some of them are so strangely apparent that you're like, wow, the universe does tell me all the time how unique I am. Think about your fingerprint. Really, come on. Do you want to be the guys that are manufacturing a different fingerprint for every single person born? Do you want to have to sit there and move the squiggly lines? Someone's putting in a lot of freaking effort to let you know that you're an original. It takes a lot of time. Have you done it? Have you tried to create a unique fingerprint? It's not easy. It's really not easy. So all that effort is there for you to remember how special you are. You know, don't let all that effort that went into the production of that one fingerprint, don't let it go to waste. Remember how special you are by the uniqueness of that fingerprint, because you are. I know that every month I do like to pull people's names out and read them, but when guys were explaining to me earlier today that we were going to do this process of seeing how you could connect with your guides and then seeing what it feels like to share the experience with someone else who is your ally and your advocate, I had a feeling we might not be able to do the readings, but I do promise you that next month we will get back to having the readings at the end of the night, and I'll even do a few extra to make up for it tonight. But I think this was a worthy pursuit for you. And for those who are watching at home or will be watching, I do want to share, because they didn't get the visual on you guys. I've done a lot of group activities with a lot of people over the years. I had one of the best experiences watching you. I mean, I really felt like joy coming from the people in the room, and I would see your faces, and I would see the spark of animation, and I could see love in your faces as you were wanting to help the other person. And man, did I see rapid hand movements. There was a lot. All right, you don't understand my words, just watch my hands, because I guarantee that exactly what it is that you need to hear right now. It's coming out one way or another. So just pay attention right now, because I'm helping you. So a lot of hand motion as well. But it's all good. It's all good. No language barriers there. But it was nice to be standing here and to see the happiness that you guys felt for helping each other. It was really nice. You guys really, I love seeing, like I said, I've done this a lot, but I don't remember seeing that much happiness in a group activity where you were supporting each other. That was really a beautiful thing to see. So take that in tonight too, with the words and the intentions of who your partner was. Take in the love that they really did give you tonight, and know that you and your fingerprint deserve it. Okay? So have a good time. Thank you. See you on November 5th. See you on November 5th.